So Jesus says, upon this rock I will build my church. And I don't want to define what the rock is today. And when I build my church, you will not discover it's not the pastor that is building. It's headship that builds. I will build my church. And if headship is responsible for the construction, for the building, then the gate of Hades, the authorities of death, will not be able to prevail. So if the place of headship is displaced in a church, in a local church like this, if the place of the Christ is displaced and he's no longer the one that directs the affairs, what has happened is that there's another headship, and the symptom of a new headship will be that the gates of hell will prevail against the church. So it will no longer be the church, because it doesn't have the headship Christ. It will now become what the Bible calls the synagogue of Satan. Yes, it's as bad as that. The moment we have a flip of headship, he loses that status. They are no longer gathered unto him. They are gathered unto something else, and it is the reality of that thing that will be enlarged in their midst. So sometimes Jesus might even come to a congregation like this, looking for a place to lay his head, and he doesn't find, so he goes away. There are symptoms that find expression if Christ is the head of the gathering, because there is something called apostolic gathering, and I need to introduce you to it. Apostolic gathering is different from the kind of gathering that takes place when people come together to watch a football match in the stadium. I was there in Manchester. We had a conference in Manchester, and we're rushing to go for the meeting, and there was hold up everywhere in the city. And I was wondering what's going on. They said, no, there's a football match. The stadium, Etihad Stadium, it was packed full. There were people outside struggling, begging to enter, and Jesus was not in the center of their gathering. I can imagine Jesus passing by, and he finds no place to lay his head. The disciple that came to Jesus needed a mentor, but Jesus needed a place to lay his head. A place to exercise his headship. And that's why the local church is a place where we are gathered in his name. So apostolic gathering is gathering in his name. It's not just gathering to watch a football match. What does it mean to gather in his name? We gather acknowledging his headship. It's only that which he wants to do that becomes manifest in our gathering. And that's why I couldn't, from when I woke up yesterday till when we went to the airport, took a flight, 2 hours or something flight, speaking in tongues, trying to find the mind of Christ. Came back, speaking in tongues. We had a little meeting, we prayed in tongues. I left that meeting, went back in my praying in the spirit, woke up early in the morning. I wanted to know what the will of Christ, because it might be that he has changed this sermon. He said, let anyone that preaches, preach as an oracle of God. It means you have lent God your mouth so that he can speak. That means you need to labor into the economy of his mind and know what is in his mind, so that he's the one speaking through your vocal cord. Anything short of that, what you have is a synagogue of Satan. Because the Son of Man seeks a place to lay his head. If he has laid his head on your life, then it means you have a God. And when there's trouble, you can run to him and say, they seek to destroy me, oh great monarch. Hey. Everyone I reported to Jesus did not survive it. Everyone. So it takes time before I report people, because he's emotional about me. So emotional. If I bring my issue, it's emotional. So I don't report people quickly until they put me on the edge for a long time. Then I say, this man, do you have a plan for him? Is he in your purpose? He's in your agenda. It is when he is exercising his headship over you that you have a God. You have a stronghold. You have something to hold on to in the days of trouble. Because not every prayer of yours will be answered quickly. Sometimes God will allow you to go through the storm. If you don't have a personal relationship with him, the storm will make you feel life is hopeless. Whenever you see hope in the heart of a man that should be crying, it means he has a God. A man that is suffering and other people will look at him and say, oh, I pity you. But he's not pitying himself. That hope is because he knows that his Redeemer. So it doesn't matter what you throw at him. Satan can unleash hell. But when he rises up, instead of him to be talking about his situation, he's talking about his Redeemer. That kind of hope is a function of the fact that you have a God, and Jehovah has been able to lay the burden of his headship upon your life to exercise his government in you. So the first thing in the mystical body, first reality, is the headship of Christ. That's number one. According to the scriptures, the principle through which our salvation was procured is substitution, and that has implications. There were many ways God could have procured our salvation, many ways, because he's a God of ways. He's not limited in wisdom. He chose substitution. And the reality of substitution is what we have in the book of, I believe, are you there? This is a digression. This is not. Maybe we should digress. Let's just stay. Let's stay. Hallelujah. Substitution. Okay, I'm already there. Let me just explain. In substitution, which is a possibility in the realm of the spirit, someone comes to take your place so that you take the person's place. That's how substitution is. That's a possibility. Those of you from Nigeria, you know that in the witchcraft world, it is possible for somebody that is about to die to give someone in exchange of himself. That is because of the principle of substitution. It's not a biblical principle, it's a spiritual law. It's available in the realm of the spirit.